I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.
Welcome back to Focus Today, and delighted to have back with us our good friend Dan Celia. He's CEO of Financial Issues Stewardship Ministries. He's also a national radio talk show host, and his television program, we are honored to carry. It's live on the Dove Television Network every weekday at 1 o'clock. This guy's on top of it, and it's a confusing world, finances and all the things that go on. But he's the guy that keeps us on the straight and narrow. Dan, good to see you. Merry Christmas, my friend.
Good to see you, Perry. Merry Christmas to you.
Well, I kind of scratching my head over this Wells Fargo thing. Sanctions against Wells Fargo Bank are huge, but what led up to this mess?
Well, what led up to it was the culture of corruptness that was there, and that was So here's what happened: Wells Fargo. They had quotas on everybody there that had to have a certain amount of accounts, new accounts, created on a regular basis. And some of these areas, there were actually bonuses for getting above the quotas. So what they were doing is they were using people's information in setting up accounts. It didn't matter what kind of account it was. It didn't matter if there was any money in the account and they just set these accounts up. So they set up all these accounts using existing account holders' information to set up new accounts. So they would set up 3 or 4 other accounts with them. And that's what really got them into the mess. And this culture of competitiveness, a culture of do whatever you've got to do to get new clients was the problem. And so now when they go through their stress test that the federal government puts through all the banks now, which was pretty obvious they were going to run into issues. Not only do they have issues because they're spending billions of dollars in fines and fees and other issues that they have now. So they've got, some financial problems along with some sanctions from the OCC on their operation. This is
an amazing thing. Do they survive this? Can they survive?
They survive it. It doesn't matter if they can survive it or if they should survive it. And what I mean by that is it's kind of irrelevant. The government will make sure that they survive it. This is a very big banking institution, and we can't have a bank this size not survive it. I think if they can't survive, then they fail. But it's not going to happen. So what we're going to see, which has already started, they're going to start divesting themselves of a lot of their departments, a lot of the things that they are doing. I would love to see them get out of the brokerage business, for instance, sell that piece of their business off because they do a lousy job of it, to sell that piece of business out. This goes back, Perry, this is the problem. When we have the Glass-Steagall, which allows banks to be brokers, to be insurance companies, to be all these other, and it allows brokerage companies to be banks and insurance companies. It allows insurance companies to do banking. It's a mess, and it shouldn't be allowed, in my opinion. Now, I'm one of the only free market capitalists that was never for this. I thought it was going to be a big mistake, and it wasn't. I was never for it. I would love to see it change, but these banks have become too big. Now, Wells Fargo, in order to survive, is probably going to start selling off other parts of their business in order to survive.
Well, they loaned themselves money to start these these other divisions of their company. and they get into it. You don't keep the main thing, you get sidetracked with all the other stuff that goes on. But if the other thing that's happening here, Dan, is the credibility of big banks. I mean, can you trust them now? Can you trust them now?
No. Listen, the credibility, this doesn't help the credibility crisis that banks are in by any stretch of the imagination, because they've been in credibility crisis mode now for 8 years, and this doesn't help. So it's a huge problem. The banks, the big banks are trusted about as much as Congress is trusted. And that's not saying a whole lot. They don't have any credibility. They don't have any real trust factor there, and rightly so. They have not conducted business in a very transparent way, and so banks don't make money like they used to. Banks make money now primarily on services. They charge fees for everything, and they've become fee driven. So the more fee driven you're becoming, the more things you do that generate fees so that you can have more of what it is that you're generating, right? And that has impacted their credibility and their trustworthiness in dramatic fashion. They don't just lend money and make money from the business of lending money. They're far more diverse than that. So now they're brokers, now they're insurance companies, now they're selling annuities, now they're doing, yes, some banking as well, but the banking's all from fees. I mean, the big banks have very little credibility, and this isn't helping it.
So what's this mean to the customer, Dan? Should they go bank shopping?
Well, I think that customers should always be bank shopping. Here's one thing for certain, Perry. You don't have relationships with your banks like you and I did 20 years ago. I mean, it's almost non-existent. My bank, I was in a small little bank where I live that was family owned for 100 years. And they sold 4 times. That bank has been sold 4 times in the last, I guess, 6 or 7 years. So with each time, they got a little bigger, and now they're owned by BB&T, which is a bank I happen to like. I don't like many banks, but it's a good bank. But they're owned by BB&T. And so there's no real relationships. People change. This community feeling is gone. If you want that, you have to go to a credit union, frankly. The bulk of my personal banking is done at Navy Federal Credit Union. That's who I use for a lot of our banking. So the banking structure has changed dramatically. So yes, people need to look. Let's say you're a senior citizen and you're looking for a CD rate. Of course, go to the bank that you do most of your banking. But you know what? Walk across the street. Walk down the road to other small regional banks and shop rate and see what kind of deal you can get. It's almost pointless to have any real relationship with your community bank anymore because they don't care. They don't have any real relationship with you. They're going to get sold. All of these people working there work on pins and needles because they know it's just a matter of time before somebody buys them out. We're the most overbanked country in the world. There's no country in the world that's as overbanked as we are. We have banks on every corner.
Yeah. All right, just a quick comment as we transition now in administrations. It looks like Donald Trump is not even president yet. His election has had an impact on the economy. Is this for real?
Yeah, it's for real, Harry. It's a real factor that has come into this economy immediately. I wrote an article last week. I think it was in Town Hall. That was called 37 Days or 8 Years, or called something to that effect, where I was comparing 37 days of a president to elect. I think this has been history making, simply because, and I think I've even said it on your program some maybe a year or so ago, we talked about what might happen. But I said, this is a result of penned-up desire from corporate America, from individuals, to get money to work, real work. This is coming not because of what he has done. He hasn't done anything. But only because of the perception, which I think is very real, that there is going to be growth in the economy.
Yeah.
And just the perception of that has set things on fire.
So the naysayers say that, we're still going to have to deal with the debt, and it'll be catastrophic, and it's going to push inflation through the roof, and that's going to slow everything down. I get that, but on the other hand, if this perception that you're talking about is real, and all the money that's been sitting on the sideline comes into the economy, almost creates a wash, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it almost does. I mean, think about this, Perry. If the tax code changes for corporate America down to 15%, or say that doesn't happen and it's down to 20%, according to the vast majority of so-called unbiased think tanks, but the economic think tanks say that it's going to add 15 to 20% to the earnings of companies. 15 to 20%. That alone is going to wash an awful lot out. Just that alone.
Well, Dan,
Yes.
We are honored to carry your program. You can see Dan every weekday here on the Dove Television Network at 1 o'clock. You can go to his website, financialissues.org. It's an incredible resource, and take advantage of all of his knowledge that's there. Thank you, brother, and let's stay in touch. It's going to be a fun ride this next year.
Yes, sir. There's a lot happening. Thank you, Perry.
Okay.
I sure appreciate it. Have a Merry Christmas.
Same to you, buddy. All right, we'll be right back.